So how do you select a strong mark that will sail right on through our review process? Well, first, you want to be sure to select a mark that's not confusingly similar to a mark that's already registered. So there are a few rules you should remember as you select your mark. First, remember our goal is to register marks, not refuse them. And your goal is to select a mark that can be registered and select a mark that can be enforced. In other words, you want to be able to register your mark with our office and be able to enforce that mark against competitors. Now, what do I mean when I say that a mark can be registered but not enforceable? Let me give you an example. Let's use Levi Strauss. Now, this is a big company founded in 1853, and they've been selling jeans since that time under the brand name Levi's. Now, for the purpose of this example, let's assume that Levi Strauss Incorporated never filed a trademark application or a trademark registration with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Now, we know that that's not true because they actually did file their application with us, and they do have several trademark registrations. But for the purpose of this example, let's assume that they never filed their application with us, okay? Now, let's assume also that since they never filed with us, that they are basing their rights on common law rights, based on the fact that they've been using their mark for over 200 years, right? Okay. Now, what if a competitor has a great idea to file a trademark application with our office for the mark Levi's for use in identifying jeans? Okay. What do you think is going to happen? Well, if that application arrives on the desk of an examining attorney, she's going to do her customary review, which is going to include reviewing and conducting a search, right? And if she conducts a search, guess what? Since Levi Strauss, in our example, never filed an application with us, they won't even be in our database. So the examining attorney would do her due diligence. She would conduct a search. She won't find them in there. And so she will, unless there are any other issues, if there are no other issues, she'll approve that mark for registration. But the real question is, can this competitor enforce their rights against Levi Strauss Company? No. And the reason why is that Levi Strauss has been using the trademark longer than the competitor. They've been using it since 1853, so they have prior rights. So it's important that you select a trademark that's both federally registrable and legally protectable. So how do you avoid this likelihood of confusion refusal? Well, the likelihood of confusion refusal is one of our most common refusals. And the reasoning behind the refusal is that we want to be sure that customers are not confused about where their goods or services originate. So let's look at the test that we use to make this determination. First, we want to look at the marks, and we want to ask ourselves, are these marks similar? Are they similar in sound, appearance, or meaning? Okay. Do they create a similar commercial impression? All right. Then we're going to look at the goods and services. And we're going to say, hey, are these goods and services related? Would a customer look at these offerings and be confused about where the goods and services originate? If the answer is yes to these two prongs of this test, then guess what? It's likely that there will be a refusal based on likelihood of confusion. But I want to kind of give you a little bit of a footnote here. It is possible that two identical trademarks can coexist in the marketplace and coexist on our register if the goods and services are not related. Do you believe me? Let me give you some examples. What about Dove for use in identifying soap and Dove for use in identifying ice cream bars, okay? Two identical marks, two marks that are similar in sound, appearance, and meaning, but the goods are unrelated. Soap and ice cream, unrelated. So there's no likelihood of confusion. What about Delta? Delta for use in identifying faucets, Delta for use in identifying air transportation services, Delta for use in identifying sororities, okay? These marks, identical. but the goods and services are unrelated. And so, yeah, they can coexist, no refusal. So let's go through a few examples to illustrate the rules. Okay, let's pretend that your mark is T.Markey for shirts and the registered mark is T.Markey for pants. In this instance, we're going to look at the marks themselves and we're going to ask, are these marks similar? Here, the marks are identical. So yes. Then we're going to look at the goods themselves and we're going to say, are they related? Can I think of a company that offers shirts and pants under the same brand name? I can think of a ton of them. So in this instance, yes, there'll be a refusal. The marks look the same, they sound the same, and the goods are related. Here's another example. What if your mark is T.Markey for shirts and the registered mark is T.Markey for pants? In this instance, we're looking at the marks themselves and we're saying, are they similar in sound, appearance, or meaning? Well, they're similar in sound. And then we're looking at the goods. Are they related? Well, in this instance, yeah, just like we said in the previous slide, these goods are related. So yes, there's a refusal here. The marks sound the same and the goods are related because customers are used to seeing one company make both pants and shirts. One more example. What about this one? Your mark again is T.Markey for shirts. The competitor mark, registered mark is T.Markey for golf flags. And you're asking yourself, are these marks confusingly similar? In this instance, looking at the marks, you'll say, are they similar in sound, appearance, or meaning? Absolutely, similar in sound. But then I'm looking at these goods and I'm wondering, are they related? Can I think of a company that offers shirts and golf flags under the same brand name? If I can think of a company that offers both of these, then yeah, there's a refusal. But if I cannot, no refusal. You want to do some research so that you can determine the proper answer, okay? That's part of a good clearance search. So how do you determine which marks may be confusingly similar to your mark? Well, you've got to do a search. You want to make sure that you search our database. And remember, based on that Levi Strauss example, our database only includes applied for marks and registered marks, okay? Doesn't include any other marks, and it certainly doesn't include common law marks, okay? If you use our database, it's available 24/7, which is great. The other place you want to search is the internet. Because remember, you want to be able to capture those common law marks. Now, some people want to ask, should they hire an attorney to help them with this process? Well, if you're domiciled in the United States, you're not required to have an attorney to help you. But even if you're not required to hire an attorney, you might consider to hire them just to help you to conduct a comprehensive clearing search. Now, what does a comprehensive clearance search look like? Well, it includes searching in the following places. You want to search our database. It includes registrations and applications. You want to search the state trademark database, okay? So you can see the state records. You want to search business name registries. That's going to help find those common law trademarks, trade name applications. And then you want to search foreign trademark databases. And finally, don't forget the internet. Let's do one more knowledge check. In this instance, what if your mark is X seed for agricultural seeds and the registered mark is X seed for live plants? In this instance, you want to ask yourself, are these marks similar? Are they similar in sound, appearance, or meaning? And are the goods offered related? Well, yes, they're similar in sound, okay, right? So we've got that prong check marked off. And then we're looking at the goods and we're saying, can I think of a competitor? Can I think of any companies that offer agricultural seeds and live plants under the same trademark or under the same brand? If I can, then yeah, there's going to be refusal. So now you know how to avoid a likelihood of confusion refusal.